Welcome back to the Oklahoma Speed and Custom YouTube channel. Today we're gonna do a little bit. We already did a little shop reorganization. I have a friend dropping off some new tools for us to check out and some hot rod parts. So he's about to drop them off. We'll unload those, and I'll kind of tell you what we got. Another thing we're gonna be doing in this video is we're gonna be back on Buck's frame. I got it kind of squared up in the jig, and I've been kind of messing with putting the tail pieces on the frame where the gas tank sits on the stock 32, so I've been kind of fixing that. So I'm going to tell you the plan with that. But first, let's get this roadster out of here so I can have them be able to pull the trailer up so we can use the winch or the hoist and actually lift this table up, because they're bringing us a heavy duty table. So let's get this roadster out of here. Chain it up and try to drive out.
Ooh-wee.
I would like that.
Jack, yeah.
Well, we got it all unloaded. This thing took a spill, but it didn't hurt it that bad. It messed the bolt up, but I can fix that, no big deal. Still works like it should. So now we got a press brake where I can actually, break 90-degree ends in, like, I can build like a little cube or a pan or something if I need. Sometimes I do find myself needing that, so that works out great. Came with this vise, so that'll be nice. The tabletop is 1/2 inch thick, so I can beat on it and I don't have to worry about it. My frame table, I get kind of worried about beating on it just because I made sure this thing was completely flat. So I don't want to like start just beating on stuff, because it kind of makes it'll put a dent in the tube or something like that, and it won't be exactly straight. So now I have this to beat on. So thank goodness for that. My goal is I'm gonna take all that crap that's against that wall and I'm gonna store it underneath here, kind of line it up and get it all kind of just stashed away better than it is, and then I'm gonna slide this up against the wall. Also, we got a Model A frame here, so that's pretty cool. Pretty nice frame. And then we got all the the rest of the boxing plates, and some wishbones and some cross members, so I'll be able to put all that to good use. Anyway, let's get back to work on Buck's car. So like I'll show you on this side, put the rear frame horn on. I just put it in the jig and made sure all the bolt holes lined up. This hole is a little bit off, but I can tell it's because they drilled it in the wrong spot, and it's not because it's off, it's because it's just drilled in the wrong spot. So I got this all situated. I had to do a relief cut because the axle had been hitting this so hard it bent this whole frame out right here. It pooched it out because the axle was just KO in this frame because it wasn't ever C-notched. So I had to do a relief cut, and I did a relief cut on the bottom just to get some of the bubble out of it, because it had like a weird bubble here from it just being smashed and smashed and smashed. So what I'll do is I'll just cut this here later on, and we'll actually do a C-notch anyway, so it doesn't really matter that it's cut. It'll be cut anyway when I get done. So let's get this other side going. I still got to cut the rear frame horn for that other side and start fitting it. So let's get to cutting. So what I did is I just put a straight edge off of this edge of this bolt, and I just matched it on the frame just to where I know that's good metal. So I'll go ahead and cut this off, and then we'll get it all cleaned up and start test fitting. I did cut it a little big just so I got room to move it and grind it as I need just to fit that piece in. So if you're wondering why I didn't cut on line, that's why. A little high. So when I did the relief cut, I went ahead and put the jack under the cross member and lifted it up just so it would be in the right spot, but I guess I lifted a little too much. So I should be able to. There it goes. We're closer. But I need to grind this edge a little bit more. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a straight edge. That's how I did that side. I straight edged it off of here, clamped straight edge here, and then clamped the new piece to the straight edge, just so I know it all flows, so it won't be out of line. And then I just need to align it this way, this will help me with that. So let me get a straight edge on it, and we'll see where it's at from there. It's always good to have some flat bar around. I have the solid stock, luckily, so like I said, I'll just put it on here and clamp it, and then that'll line this other piece up pretty dadgum close to where we need it, and then I can adjust it with a jack or just, you know, putting my weight on it, just move it around. So let's clamp this puppy down. So you can tell down here we got a piece touching, kind of hard seeing that little gap. We got a big gap on the top, so we need to grind that edge and bring that whole piece in farther. In doing that, that should get the hole closer too, because you can kind of see it's the edge of the hole's here and this edge of the hole's here. So it needs to go forward about 3/16 probably, and down a good bit, probably 1/2 inch. So, and when you go down, you got to think too, that's all going to move, that hole. So because it's kind of on a pendulum, so you got to kind of all account for that. Let me go ahead and just grind this down just so where it fits a little better there, and then we'll see how close it is, and I can kind of move it around a little bit. So that is one of the bright things about having a jig. You can kind of just tell where it needs to be. That's my main goal for this, was to build stuff like this, because a lot of these frames, you can get repop frames, and that's cool and all, but if you can save an original one, I would rather save an original one. They're just so cool. you know, it's been a hot rod before because it had a bunch of hot rod stuff on it. So it's just cool that, you know, the history, what this frame has been under. It's been under a 3-window probably most of its life for another hot rod. So that's kind of why I want to save this deal. So we'll get her patched up. I got it fitting close here. I need to put some weight on it. We're going to try to get that down, that back ear down. So let's see if I can put some weight on it and let it down some. Let's see. It's close. Needs to be right there. Let me go ahead and stick a bolt in it with a nut on it and tighten it down. That'll kind of locate it to where it needs to be. And then I might go ahead and grind this down a little bit because it's still got a little bit of a gap. So, just a touch. This still needs to go forward. Let me do that first, I guess. Oh, we're so close. It's like a 16th. So close, we're almost there. Just need to bring the edge in a little bit more. Just kind of sneak up on it. I might tap it with a hammer too, that might help. Let's see. Oh, we're so close. Probably just grab a marker and just right here. That's what we need there. And probably just get a little bit on the edge. But we are ballpark. So usually if I need the whole edge, you just take the marker down like this. You can kind of see how much you take off. Just kind of keep an eye on it so you're not taking more out in one area than the other. Oh, got over a little bit, but it'll be all right. You do it right, gets it pretty dead gum close to even. You can do it with calipers too, but this works just as well. like a glove. And get some tools, we'll tighten it up and sand the outside down and tack her in. Might grab one more clamp, or actually I might do it with these, just to make sure that when we tack it, it's in the exact right spot. It does look like it's a little low right here. Give her a slight adjustment right here. That's pretty daggone close. Let me get a straight edge. Like, I always like to check stuff, so I'll do a straight edge on this and we'll just double check. Oh yeah. Corner looks really good. So, tack it in. Now we got it tacked. I like to go back and I'll probably hammer this because this stuff is thick, but you can kind of hammer it around a little bit. This kind of dives in, the frame rail actually dives in a little bit right here. Not bad, and I don't think it's supposed to. I think it's just because from use and being, you know, another car or whatever. So I'm just gonna put a straight edge on this and kind of tap it all together. Just so when I weld it, it'll be seamless. If you're wondering why I did the top, is because the top is actually what matters. That's where the body bolts. So I really want to make sure the top's right, and then I can always adjust the bottom edge if it doesn't quite line up, because if you look, it don't really line up exactly perfect. Kind of hard to tell, but there's a little bit of lip there, so I'll have to beat that around. I just wanted to get the top to where it's set up so where the body is correct in the right spot, so that's why I'm doing the top. Money. I'm stoked about that. So let's go ahead and fix this bottom edge. Now that we got it tacked in place, we'll go ahead and come back with a hammer and dolly and square that up. Kind of hard to tell with the weld on there, but I did have to move it up a little bit. Looks like it needs a little bit of massaging right here too, a little bit, so we can do that later. Not right now, because I got other problems I got to fix. Let me show you the next fiasco I got to fix. So on this other side, it's pretty pitted. That side's not bad pitted. It's just that one's more just, you know, just being old. This side is pitted to where it's probably weak, and it's in a very important spot right there. So what I'm thinking is, coming down this line, we'll just cut it all out and replace this, because that is a crucial point to where the rear crossmember welds, and if that's not strong, then the whole frame's not strong. So I want to make sure it's good to go. So I'll probably just cut down where I did before, and we'll just put a whole new piece in. First things first, let's get this crossmember out though. Start grinding rivets. To get these rivets out, we're just gonna go 40 grit and go to town on them. So just grind the heads off and we'll air hammer them out. When you're doing these, I always like to go ahead and locate the center. I'll drill it out on each one and then drill it a little bigger with a bigger bit. That way when you're air hammering, your point has something to locate on, so you're not beating up the frame. Always make sure you have ear protection when you're air hammering, because it's freaking loud. Something like that, what I like to do is just keep drilling bigger bit. Just keep getting a bigger bit until it touches the outside of the frame rail. So, because you can kind of go off, if you get a hole lucky, if you get lucky and get one out, you can kind of go off of what size the hole is. But just drill it out, and eventually it'll keep going. Just keep drilling until you don't really have anything else left to hold it, and then you can just drill it out there. Finish going, you know, finish air hammering it out that way. Work out, air hammer. If that still doesn't do it after you drill the holes, just keep drilling. You'll get them eventually. Like that. Now let's do the other side. Trapped. Yay! Well, out with the old and with the new. I got this from Roaster Supply. You can tell the drop is quite a bit different. So at the highest point, this one is about 7.5. This one's at 5. So quite a bit of drop in that, in just that. Back in the day, they would actually chop these up, and actually they would put 35, 36 in them. Just depends what they were doing, honestly. They would chop these up 32 style if you're keeping the stock 32 spring. A lot of guys would do a 35 to 40 rear crossmember just because the spring is straight in the back. On 32s, the spring's actually curved, so you can't just put a straight spring in the hanger. You can kind of tell it's kind of curved. This one's more 35 to 40 spring straight, so you don't have to run a 32 spring. You can run a 35 to 40. On this stuff, I just give it a nice sand down because they come a little bit rusty, just from being shipped over. That I think they make them overseas, but they come with just light surface rough, so I just sand them down real quick and they're good to go. Also, we got a new front cross member. Same thing, it's dropped as well. Once we get the other one out, I'll tell you how much, but pretty nice stuff. For the reason a lot of guys back in the 50s and 60s ran 35 to 40 rear springs in these 32 frames is because everyone wanted the 35 rear wishbones. They're just a lot stronger than the rest of them. With these overhead valve motors, they made a lot more horsepower and torque, so they would bend the stock 32 stuff and the 34 stuff. So everybody wanted to run the 35s because the ends are cast and they're thicker wall for the wishbone. This car, I believe, has 32 stuff on it. You can kind of tell. It's kind of hard to see because it's so low, but just mounts different and it's a lot thinner. That 35 Ford stuff is what everybody wanted back in the day. People ran 32 stuff, and some people, were fine with it. But for this car, it is getting ardent, so it's going to have a lot more horsepower than just a regular flathead. Same thing with Craig. That's why we went with that style, just because we're putting that small Chevy in there. And Craig, I can already tell you, is going to be getting on it because he used to drag race back in the day. So just trying to plan ahead where we don't have any problems, nothing breaks. So 35 to 40 spring and wishbone style it is. Well, while I was waiting on my phone to charge so I could record, I went ahead and I've just been beating on this frame right here. The axle just destroyed this. It's bubbled out. You can kind of tell a little bit. Right here, it's a lot better than it was. It was out to here, or so, yeah, like right there. So I've been beating on it and getting it back into shape. The relief cut definitely helped. It just kind of relieved some pressure so I could actually work it. The other side, same thing. It's just, that axle just beat the fire out of the back of that thing. So this thing definitely needs C-notches. Let's see. You can kind of tell on this side as well. It's just humped up. There's a hump right here too I need to hammer out. So the hump starts right there. So I'll keep whacking on it and trying to get it straight. A lot of this is going to get cut out, like I was saying, because of C-notch. But I just want to get it, just real close so I don't have to like fight this other patch where I got to replace that metal. I've went ahead and I've made the paper template too, so I need to cut that out. Well, that's kind of what I've been doing the last little bits while I've been waiting on the phone to charge so I could record. Just beat the tar out of this thing. So I'm gonna keep hitting on it and trying to get it straight, and then probably go ahead and just run a wire wheel in there and clean up everything and try to get that mangled mess down there. I probably end up cutting that off, like I was saying, for the C-notches, but man, it just looks terrible. So let me think here. I'll probably just wire wheel it, beat on it some more, and then we'll probably just go ahead and measure out for the C-notches, just so I got a better idea of where I actually need to straighten it out. Because, I mean, I don't want to be straightening something I'm going to cut out anyway. It's kind of a waste of time. So I think that's probably a good stopping point. Let me measure this out. We'll get that cleaned up, and we'll start off from there. Well, I went ahead and put the crossmember in. I checked all my measurements side to side. I made sure the angle was right from here. So I have measurements over there on my wall. I'll want to show you real quick. Just all the schematic of the whole frame, just shows you everything, where the wheelbase is, all that stuff. Now on this, you got to keep in mind when you do this stuff, it's not exactly this is not exactly how you will do it because you're building a hot rod. So the front crossmember, usually we move it forward 1 7/8 is what I did on Craig's. So we'll probably do the same on this one. The rear crossmember, it's a different crossmember, so the center line's a little different where the spring sits. So you got to keep all that in consideration when you're doing this kind of stuff. So this measurement will change, but the center of axle will stay the same because we still want that to be in the center of the wheel well, or even a little bit back if at all possible. So this is what we were looking for right there, that 6. So we measured off that, made sure that was right, and then I went ahead and made sure bolt to bolt's 40, and then that 40 7/8 is right. So I made sure it's all square and good to go. The only thing that I don't really want to put the C-notch in yet because it's going to be a pain in the butt to slide that crossmember back in there. So I'm thinking about just fixing this real quick and then sliding the crossmember in and just tacking it for now into where I think it will be. And we'll go ahead and just cut this because once I get it tacked, I can kind of move it around as need be if I have to. But this, once it's in there, it's going to be hard to get that crossmember in. So like I said, I'll go ahead and fix this and then we'll finish all that. But I did wind up eating all a morning up doing all this stuff, which is fine. I really needed this table. So thank you so much to Wally and his wife for letting us have that. I've already been using it. I love it. So it's been nice to have something in that height where I'm not having to worry about the base like the other table over there. It's kind of sketchy. But this one, super solid. I can hammer on it. It's got a vise on it. Super excited to have this thing. Same with the Model A stuff. I don't have a Model A, but I guess I do now. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this frame kind of how-to stuff. We got a few more videos of this after I get back from more skis. You'll see the next video. But anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. Thank you to everybody that's in the membership thing. It just means a lot to me and Charlie. This thing's kind of blown up and we're super excited to keep going with it, which we're going to keep going with it. Anyways, have a good evening. See ya.
Broke down at the right spot though.
Yeah. Well.
The Dotson King, baby! What's going on? The Dotson King needs his nights.
We here now, baby.
Oh yeah. I'm in bad shape.
No, we're here. You're in good shape.
No, I was doing good. I was working on my tan. Trying to get that farmer's tan in.
Looking good, buddy.